Hi there and welcome to The Catalyst. This is our second episode and we're at the house of businessman and hairstylist Gary Rom. Now the name Gary Rom is synonymous with extremely good hair products as well as styling, but we're not here for a haircut.
No, we are here to talk to Gary Rom and his son Calvin Rom about where it all started, where we are today and what the future may hold.
So let's go find out.
So Gary, Calvin, thank you for joining us on The Catalyst. I actually said to my mother last week we were going to have this interview and she was very excited, and she actually told me a funny story that way back when she was pregnant with me, you were actually her personal stylist. Now, I mean, that was 1987, 1988. So if you can take us back, where did it all start for you and when did you start as a hairstylist?
What happened was I was still a generation that went to national service. So back in the day, 2 years national service was compulsory. And so after matric I went to the Air Force and then I came out and I didn't really know what to do. So my stepdad at the time, who was married to my mom, owned a couple of salons called Hair by Kelly. And I said to him, what do you think I should do? And he said, well, let's speak to L'Oreal. Maybe you can become a sales consultant or a representative. So I went off to L'Oreal at the interview and they hired me. So my first taste of the hair profession was as a sales consultant that used to visit different salons. Okay. And I did that for about 18 months. And then I didn't want to be in the corporate world because back in those days, the only way you could get promoted in the corporate world was if someone died. So they would die and then you would move up a little and so on. And I didn't want to wait that long. So I decided that I wanted to do hair and spoke to Kelly, and I went to London and Paris for about 4 months. And I did some basic sort of training, cutting and so on. And I came back and started to work on the salon floor, but I was really, really bad. Because from a skill perspective, you know, you need time and you need experience on the salon floor to be able to hone your skills. So that was the early starting point of my career, really. Worked in Kelly's salon and then didn't really gel with his idea of running a salon or running a business. So just after Calvin was born in 1988, I went into my first salon and started my first salon and learned a lot of lessons because I found myself running the business and doing hair the same way that all of the salons did when I visited them. I would do as many clients as I could and I would squeeze them in, and we didn't have a consultation process. So a woman would walk in and we'd say, what do you want? And they'd say, my husband wants a bob, and then we'd cut the bob. And so it was really basic and so on. But as time went on, I realized that if you want to be successful in any business, whether you own a car wash or a restaurant or a hotel or a salon, I think it's really important to differentiate yourself in the market. So what I set about doing after a number of years was to look at the industry around me, the hair industry, and just to do things differently.
Yeah, and what was the most difficult thing, like you said, from the transition from hair stylist to business owner?
Because as a hairstylist working in a salon, you know, you work for the business. But you need to get business to work for you. So at the end of the day, you know, Calvin's just opened his first franchise. But, you know, he's going to open more salons and he's going to take over the group one day. Obviously with the assistance of my daughter and his wife and my son-in-law, they're all in the business together. Doing hair is hard work. A lot of people don't know that, you know, when you're standing there at 4 o'clock and you're on client number 7 and you're blow drying long curly hair, you're thinking, I hate life. Would you agree?
100%.
100% hate life because it's hard work. So if you put processes into position as an entrepreneur, if you're in a field, study the field. Like, I cannot stress enough the importance of studying the field and then doing it differently. I'll give you a small example. In every salon I've ever been to in the world, and I've done a lot of the world with L'Oreal Professional. I've had the privilege to travel the world with L'Oreal because I was one of 6 hairdressers from around the world in 2008 to be inducted into the L'Oreal World Business Team. So everything we do in our group, I used to travel the world and teach. When a client is sitting in a salon chair and she's about to have a color done, the color is mixed in the back. Someone comes out with a bowl and they start putting the color on their hair. So I said, no, we need to do it differently. Let's not mix the color in the back. Let's put the bowl in front of the client. Let's have the tube of color, the developer, and educate the customer on what it is that we're using and why. So knowledge is power. So if we can empower our clients by giving them more knowledge of what's happening, they will be loyal to the brand. Makes a whole lot of sense to me.
Speaking of doing things differently, also we on the show do things differently. So, but Calvin said you guys.
Yeah, why is it taking so long?
Beverly, it's about time. I've never had this, but Calvin said this Groot Constant shades the Governor's Reserve.
Correct.
It's a very nice one. This is 2011. So,
But it's very intimidating sitting here with all this nice wine.
Yeah, this nice wine here. So.
If I'm not mistaken, this is the wine that you had at your wedding.
No, I had the first wine I asked for was Rupert and Rothschild, which is the one we had at the wedding. But
Oh yes, that's
Yeah,
right.
it's
But I think you only found this after the Rupert and Rothschild.
I did.
Yeah.
I went wine tasting.
Rupert and Rothschild. We can open that
We
after.
can just
Yeah.
do afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be long.
Speaking of cheers, guys. Thank
Cheers.
you very much.
Cheers,
Cheers.
Cheers, PJ. Oiki.
Cheers, Gary.
Cheers, boy.
Cheers.
I remember the first time I walked into Gary Rom salon. You're speaking of doing things differently. I mean, there you come, then your name is on the welcoming pad, and then there's a head massage, which is, by the way, my favorite part. And then you can get the hand massage. You can order coffee or wine from next door. I mean, was that always like the plan? You say not from the beginning, but is that gradually grow the ideas?
Yeah, I think what we try and sell in the salon is an experience. So if a man or a woman is in the salon for an hour or 4 hours, of course the result is important. You know, we're in the business to make people look better, but we're also in the business to make people feel better, and that's an integral part of what we do, because we have the power as people that have a license to touch other people on their head, to actually make them, enable them to leave the salon and have a better home life with their spouses and their children, because they feel better about themselves as people. So the experience for me is very, very important.
Just to continue on that, so I've been a client for I think almost 7 years now, so I'm going to wait for my card. And I've had I think 2 or 3 stylists and many apprentices, and I can honestly say I've never had one bad experience. So when you scale a business, it's obviously tough to keep the quality high. Maybe you can also get in here, but how do you keep the quality of service, I would say, at that standard that it is?
Well, I think it's quite difficult, because we need to remember that we are dealing with people who are from the age of 18 to 25, you know. The average age must be what, 21, 22?
Yeah, possibly between 21 and 23, somewhere around there. I mean, the average age is higher because of me.
So
So if I leave, the average age will be 19.
So if you look at trying to handle quality control and all of that, you need to understand that you're dealing with a really young person, and they need to communicate and hold themselves with the right amount of maturity to the client who's walking in, who might be 30 years old or 40 or even 50, 60. It doesn't matter what the age is.
No, the problem is they all have different. So in a salon, Calvin's salon, for instance, there's 12 people that work there. They're 12 different backgrounds, 12 different upbringings, 12 different problems in the morning, because one might have financial issues, another one might have a relationship issue. And so the most difficult thing for us when we work with 140 staff is to take that human factor into consideration, because it is possible to have a bad day and it spills over into the client.
Do you have practical? Interesting. I think most people believe they have to be born with a passion and know it from a very early age. And I think you both are examples. Like, you just have to be open-minded, and when the opportunity arises, take it with both hands, and then it can actually come to be your passion as you go along.
Yeah.
And as you know more about the specifics.
Yeah, and you need to work hard. You know, today's millennial wants to get from point A to point B in 6 months. And with us, it took 10 years. So, of course, the entrepreneur of today has got bigger opportunities, more opportunity, bigger, better, brighter, faster, stronger things to do in order to get from point A to point B. But you have to be prepared to work hard. When I opened my first salon, when Calvin was born, I never had a holiday for 6 years. I worked Mondays to Saturdays for 6 years.
And with Calvin, you also, your dream came true. You have started your own business now. You've got your own salon in Menlyn Main.
Yes.
So what would you say in that is the biggest challenge for you now, also being from apprentice to hairstylist, now having your own business?
Well, I think there's a big responsibility that you have. You are in charge of making sure that people get paid, people are well looked after. The responsibility of money becomes a lot more, whereas if you work for somebody, you expect to be paid and you expect to have a salary and you expect to get a bonus, but you don't understand what gets put in behind the scenes to make that achievable. And I now know that. And people said, why did you open up your own Gary Rom salon? And I said, because I need to understand a smaller model before I enter into the mother group and the mothership and take over that one day. Because what I've learned in the past 4.5 months of owning my own salon is going to be fundamental one day to what I apply to the business.
The marketing strategy from the beginning, did you have a strategy from the beginning? Did you learn a lot as you went along? And what was the thinking behind specifically the marketing and the branding?
Yeah, back in the early days, we used to advertise, we used to do pamphlet drops, we used to stand at the robot and hand out, offerings of come to the salon and have a cut and a blow or whatever. Radio, I remember I was one of the first hairdressers to be interviewed on Radio Jacaranda back when Helen Nordier was still one of the talk show hosts. So we tried everything, newspapers, the record, etc. But it didn't work, and it didn't work because if you do a promotion in print media, you're going to get a lot of people that come in to make use of the promotion and you never see them again. So you have to turn your business into a brand. And branding it's very different thinking. So when you want to use a search engine, you don't say, I'm going to go into a search engine. You say, I'm going to Google it. So you have to turn your thinking into what is important to my client. Because I learned long ago that what's important to me as a business owner or as a hairdresser or as a salon owner is not important to my client.
I think you let them put down their own mark, and I think that's wrong with a lot of parents. They still want to be the parent in a business. Yeah. I'm telling you what to do. So PJ, you only get two types of leader in the world. You get the do as I do leader or the do as I say leader. If you're a do as I say leader, your staff turnover is high, you lose people that work in your company, you don't have a happy business. But when you're a do as I do leader, so let me do, you do what I do, you have respect. And you have people that follow you because they go, if he can do it, I can do it. And if he can achieve what he's achieved, then I can achieve that too. So, a lot of people don't really, that's a basic business principle, the two types of leader. And it's quite interesting if you think about it that way.
So a little bit more on the lighter side, we're going to go to the quick 5 minute, we call it. So no thinking, first thing that comes to mind. Okay, so I'm going to start with you and then you immediately answer just after the same question. So mohawks or mullet?
Definitely mullet.
Pass.
Can't not.
Too professional.
He wore a mullet. He wore a mullet for a long time. When he was doing that gap year sort of first 2 years in the hair profession, and then he highlighted it.
I guess
let's keep on that.
Mohawk, for sure.
So who's friendlier, blondes or brunettes?
My wife's brunette, so brunettes.
Easy one. Redheads do what blondes dream of. No contest.
Okay, favorite.
Sorry, Melinda. Sorry, Melinda.
We'll say sorry later. We'll start with you, Gary. Favorite movie?
Shawshank Redemption.
Nice one.
Bag of Vance.
Okay, nice. Cool.
Wax or gel?
Wax.
Cream.
You didn't have that, but we'll have it. Jeans or suit?
Jeans.
Jeans.
Kindle or paperback book?
Paperback.
Paperback.
Facebook, Twitter or Instagram?
Instagram.
Instagram, because I don't do Twitter or Facebook, so Instagram.
This might be an easy one. Favorite sport?
Golf.
Yeah, by a country mile.
If you have the option to choose to get a free vacation or that money's worth in cash, what would you choose?
Vacation.
Vacation.
And if you go Cape Town or overseas, you crash with friends or stay in a hotel?
Hotel. I've always maintained, why would you go on holiday to stay in a place worse than your own home? Why would you do that? That's not a holiday. You agree, boy?
Friends.
What?
Gary, maybe you've got the wrong friends.
Yeah.